am a boudoir photographer on Long Island. I have a studio right outside Manhattan that's about the size of this stage and very, very expensive. And I use it really as a place for women to express themselves and their femininity. So let me tell you a little bit more about that. Most people see boudoir photography and they automatically think, oh, she's sexy, she's hot, it's very sensual, it's about sex. And for me, it's not at all whatsoever, and I'm going to explain. For me, boudoir photography is really about women celebrating their unique femininity shamelessly. I know that that sounds very easy and it flows right off the tongue for me, but it took me about 3 or 4 years to really come up with that expression of what I really believe that boudoir photography is. Because really, I want to create a space in my little space in Long Island City for women to express who they are as they are. It's not a place where women come and dress up as somebody else or put on a ton of makeup and different outfits that they wouldn't normally wear. It's a safe place without judgment for them to be truly who they are and in their own feminine way. Because let's face it, women are going through a lot these days, right? And I actually right now, which really excites me in all the work that I do. But women often feel shame and we feel judgment, and there's a lot of shoulds. Right? I should be feminine in this way. Femininity is high heels and lipstick, or femininity is dressing up and staying home with my children, or whatever it might be. Everybody has their own definition and they think that they should fit into this box. So I allow them a space to come in and be whoever they want to be, which I hope is really the true person. Femininity shamelessly. So when I show you this image, what do you see? A camera, right? And a lens, an awesome Nikon camera, right? This has been my tool since day one. I don't see a camera, though. I see a tool for healing. And that's really how I've used my camera all along the years. So we think often that photos are just memories, right? I'm just going to take a picture. I want to remember this moment. But it's not about the image, you guys. And I know it sounds crazy to stand up in a photography booth at CES and say it's not about the image, but it's not. It's about the experience. It's about the emotions, right? The photography is just a souvenir of that moment. So what I do is I provide an amazing experience for women, and they feel themselves and they walk out empowered and they're on a high. And anytime that they feel insecure or they feel nervous or that should or that shame comes back into their mind, all they have to do is pull out their photos and take a look and go, okay, I remember who I am. I'm connected to who I am. I remember how I felt that day. In fact, I want my clients to leave and not even care if they ever see their pictures, although I know that they will and they'll love them, that's fine. But I want them to remember that feeling when they look at the pictures. And it's really double-sided, by the way. So it's an experience on both sides of the lens. My clients leave with an amazing experience, but I also get to be a part of that experience, which is incredible for me personally as an artist and a photographer. And I'm very connected to women. I'm very empathetic to women and their stories and what they're going through. And this allows me to heal as well. So I got into photography back in 2008. I had never taken a picture in my entire life. My husband bought me a Nikon camera, D80, and I had no idea how to use it, to be honest with you. And it was actually a little bit intimidating at the time because there's a lot of knobs, right? How do we work this camera? But I was going through a period in my life that was a difficult time. I was struggling with infertility between my 2 children. I really wanted to have another baby. And I was really struggling. I was having a lot of difficulties. And I turned to the camera for healing. I said to myself, you know what? I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and I said, you know, how much can you stay home, right? Like, I'm not really a stay-at-home mom. I'm kind of an active stay-at-home mom. My daughter was now in nursery school, and here I am at home with my thoughts. And if anybody's ever gone through a struggle, which we all have in one way, shape, or form, you know that those thoughts can sometimes get dark and sad, and I'm not that kind of a person, so I was like, I'm not going to sit here and be sorry for myself. I'm going to pick up a camera and I'm going to learn how to use it. And I remember the day I took a glass and I put it on the table and I took a picture of it. And then I changed a knob and I took another picture. And then I changed a knob again and I took another picture, so on and so forth. Just so I can teach myself how the camera actually worked. And it was amazing what it allowed me to do. People were inviting me to parties and baby namings. All my friends were having second children at the time and I couldn't. And going to these parties was really difficult for me. But if I brought my camera, now I have a barrier, right? I can be there and be with them and be in the moment and say, I'm here and I'm happy for you, which I judge for me. So it served as a healing tool and a protector because now I was experiencing it in a different way. And watching other people's lives through the lens really gave me the gift of seeing happiness and joy and new babies and all the great things that came along with it. And it really healed me at the time. So I have a small problem. I can't ever start a hobby without turning it into a business. So of course, 5 minutes later, I started a photography business. And it wasn't a coincidence. It was a feeling that I wanted to spread this joy and this love and this healing around the world, to everybody that I possibly could. So the camera really healed me. But photography also heals others, like I've said, and I want to share a few stories with you of some clients that I've worked with in the past that all gave me permission to share their stories. And maybe some of them resonate with you, and maybe they don't, but to understand that everybody that comes into my studio, they don't come in and just say, I want to look sexy. They're coming in for a reason. There's always a purpose behind what they're coming in for. This is one of the most dramatic transformations that I've had in my career. This is actually an old photo. I'm showing a lot of actually old photos and new photos combined. This woman, her name is Joy, which is ironic because she wasn't feeling much joy at the time. And she contacted me and said, all these years that I gave my husband and I was loyal to him and I loved him, and he threw me out on the side of the road like a piece of garbage. And now he's dating some 20-year-old something, right? And this is a common thing, right? And so women, when we go through struggle of things like infertility or divorce or things of that nature, we question who we are as women. Am I feminine? Am I good enough? Do I still have it in me to be sexy and be sensual and be feminine, even though maybe I'm strong and I'm working and I'm trying to hold a family together? So we transformed her, and I have to say this was one of those moments where I was nervous. I really feel the nerves. I want to prove to her, yes, you're beautiful and you're worthy and we love you. And she was so much fun. We had such a great time with her that day. And she actually ended up sending the pictures to her ex-husband with a little note like, haha, look what you missed out on. But really the point of it was not to get revenge. It was really to prove to her that she can do this, that she is still worthy. Eating disorders are a really big problem and struggle amongst women, right? You can look at an image, something like this, and say, oh, well, she's beautiful. What's the big deal? It's easy to go in as a beautiful woman and have beautiful pictures taken. But this client has struggled with her body through her whole life, eating disorders and gaining weight and losing weight and feeling self-value. And this has really taught me and healed me in a way that I always am sympathetic to somebody, even if I don't know what they're going through, even if they're a jerk to me. There has to be something that's going on with them that I don't know. And you can't always judge a book by its cover. This is my friend Carrie, and Carrie came to me because she was turning 40. And there was a little guy in her office talking in her ear, he was not in his 40s, that basically would say to her, Carrie, you're not worth it. It's all going downhill from here. You're turning 40. Everything starts sagging after 40, you're at the height of your career, and he just kind of kept saying these things to her. And what happens with women, and I probably men too, but I can't speak for that, is that when somebody starts chirping in your ear, it starts infiltrating into your brain, and then your brain starts regurgitating it back. Okay, so as women, we hear something, and then we regurgitate it in our mind. And sometimes what happens is, the noise comes from ourselves. We say something and we believe it. Like I hear from clients all the time, I'm not photogenic. Well, who told you that? What made you believe that? Well, I saw a bad picture of me, so I know I'm not photogenic, right? So I always say you could take 1,000 beautiful pictures of a woman and one bad one, and she'll always remember the bad one. That's the one that she believes, right? So essentially, he was chirping in her ear, and she just heard it again and again and again and started believing it and said to me, I need this for me. I need to know that 40 is just the beginning. That 40 is going to be a rebirth for me, and I want to express my femininity in this way. And as you can see, she's not even wearing lingerie. Boudoir is not always about lingerie and nudity and sex, like I said. It's really about expressing the femininity the way you want to express it, and I help them embrace that. This is Abigail. Abigail is very special to me. She's actually a fellow photographer. And she actually volunteered to model for a workshop that I was doing because she was going through a lot of medical problems. Now, medical problems are very difficult on a lot of people. She's a young mom. She has young kids. She's got an amazing supportive husband, but it's still hard to balance it all and then be a woman on top of it and feel whole and feel complete. So she said, I really want to volunteer for this workshop. And so we took some pictures after the workshop together. And this is one of those images. And I just love this. She is maybe 4'11". I mean, I kind of tower over her, and I'm really not that tall. So she's a nice little petite little girl. I love her. And but she's so strong. You know, you would look at her and go, oh, she's so cute and she's so petite, but she has such strength. And when I shoot clients like that have that strength, I gain strength. So it's a give and take relationship. I go, man, look at everything that she's going through. That's amazing. How does somebody do that? I want to capture that. About a week after this shoot, she was diagnosed with cancer. And we're going to do another shoot. Actually, she reached out to me recently and said, could we do another shoot? Because she's done with her surgeries now and her treatment. And again, she's looking to embrace herself as a full woman after medical treatment. So we're going to do that again. I'm very excited. And this is Suzanne. Suzanne is also now, all my clients become a friend of mine because we go through a very intimate experience together, right? So Suzanne also was going through medical issues and asked me to come to her studio, actually, to visit her. She was in Canada. And just to show, again, that she's feminine and believes that she's still worthy and beautiful. And so we spent a great amount of time together. And I really want to spread this message. I say this all the time. When you shed your clothes, you shed your inhibitions. And that's so much what boudoir is about. It's not about taking off your clothes for a sexual reason. It's about taking off your clothes to show who you truly are, to show your scars, to show, because really the truth is the only thing separating me and my story and you guys is just this little piece of clothing. That's really it, right? There's scars internally, externally that tell stories, but we don't show that. Clothing is often a mask that we wear, and it's fun clothing. I love fashion and I love dressing up, but it's often a mask that we wear to hide ourselves from everybody else because we don't want to admit imperfection. Right? And I love imperfection. I think the only perfection is imperfection. And the more we can admit it and the more we can talk about it with each other, the more we connect and the more we bond with each other, which is why I become friends with all of these women. The last client I'm going to show you is Jen. Jen is so beautiful, but she came to me with a very heartbreaking story. She was in her 20s, and she was married to the love of her life, and she had a young daughter. And Jen, unfortunately, was widowed just a few years after she was married. And we exchange emails back and forth, and this is part of what I love so much. What I do is not just, hey, Jen, how much is a shoot? I want to book you. It becomes a storytelling and sharing in stories. And even when a client doesn't book me, it's okay because I connect with them and I learn from them. So Jen and I emailed back and forth a lot. And it's important for me to do that. And I want to really, again, spread that message that to connect with people, you have to open up, you have to communicate, you have to be able to talk about some difficult things sometimes. And she just, I remember the email, the one line that stood out in the email, and she said to me, you know, I'm young and I know that I still have my looks and I want to show my daughter about what being a woman is and what being a strong woman is, and I just want to find my smile again. I haven't smiled in years. And I could cry just talking about it right now because it was so heartbreaking to me that she was so young and she lost her smile. So I was like, you come into my studio, I guarantee you we're getting that smile back. And we did that day. And she had such a good time. And again, we connected, we've become friends. And it's a deeper experience. It's not just about the photos. So I really want to tell you guys, when you take pictures, even if you go home and you take pictures of your family or you take pictures at a work event or any picture that you take, there is meaning behind it to really capture that meaning. And there's pressure here. I want to make sure I'm doing my clients justice. I want to make sure I'm telling their stories the way that they want to be told. So photography continues to heal me. You'll excuse me if I get a little emotional. This is a tough topic to talk about a little bit, but this is a picture that I took on July 11th of last year, 2017. I was shooting a client that day, but I took this selfie really fast. And you can see, if you can tell from here, I have a bandage on my right breast. And it was the day after I had a biopsy on a lump that I found myself on my chest. And the next day, I got a phone call from the doctor that I indeed have breast cancer. So it was really kind of a shock to me. I was 41 at the time, and I worked with women. I've worked with breast cancer survivors, I've worked with cancer survivors, I've worked with women that have gone through all these different struggles. And oh my God, now I have cancer, what do I do? Can I even do this anymore? Can I serve purpose to this anymore? What is happening to my life? So the first call I made actually was to this beautiful woman. She chose to stay anonymous, but this is my friend. She is a photographer as well, and we didn't know each other all that well, but she called me one day back in January, and she said, Jen, my 30th birthday is very soon, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I have to have a double mastectomy in a few days. Do you have room to fit me in for a shoot? And I will tell you, I did not have any room to fit her in for a shoot, but you bet your biddy I made room for her, right? So I said to her, no problem, you come in, let's take some photos. And she said, how much are you gonna charge? And so here's the thing, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm fairly expensive for what I do, because what I do is very in-depth, very emotional, very time-consuming, but I also believe it's a gift. And I really want to emphasize to anybody out there that's a photographer that has this gift, to share your gifts. Gifts are meant for giving. They're not always meant for receiving, right? So I said to her, listen, I am not going to charge you, but I have one request. My request is that you pay it forward. One day, somebody's gonna need you and your services, and I want you to pay it forward. So when I was diagnosed with cancer, who was the first person that I called her, and she ended up paying it forward to me. And she paid it forward to me by helping me figure out who to call, what doctor do I go to? What do I do? I mean, I called her before I called my mother. I said, help me, I have cancer, I don't know what to do. And she laid everything out for me, and she gave me a bunch of advice. And I did have a double mastectomy on August 2nd, which was about 2 weeks after I was diagnosed. So it was quite a shock and very fast moving. And she showed up at my house with all the stuff I needed post-surgery. So she ended up paying it forward to me. And that's really the full circle of photography and what a gift it is. And when you give a gift, you get gifts in return. So I was really nervous about returning back to work after my surgery. And by the way, just for the record, I am okay, so everybody can breathe a little sigh of relief. I just finished my treatment. As a matter of fact, this is my first week off treatment, so my last chemo treatment was December 27th. Thank you. I am still standing, and I plan to be for a very long time. But I was very, very nervous about getting back into work. After my surgery, I couldn't shoot for a good 2 months, and I just felt this, like, am I going to be able to be in a room with these women that are whole? And then I remembered their stories, and I remembered that everybody has something. It doesn't have to be breast cancer. Everybody has a struggle, right? Everybody has something that they're gonna go through. And through my struggle, and I've been very open about it on Facebook, I do Facebook Lives quite often talking about my disease and my transformation through all of it, and the ups and the downs and the emotions. There's been a lot of ugly crying, and a lot of joy. I met Marianne. And Marianne is a 3-time cancer survivor, and unfortunately, well, I'm not going to tell her whole story because I have a video to show you, but her breast implants didn't agree with her body, so she had to go flat. It wasn't a choice of hers. But we connected through Facebook, and she just inspired me so much. And I have to tell you, people keep saying to me, like, when you were diagnosed with cancer, was it scary? Was it hard? And it is scary and hard, but it's busy. When you're diagnosed with cancer, you're like, I need to go to doctors, I need to go get treatment, I need to go, have surgery, I need to heal from surgery. You know what you have to do. It's like a constant push, it's a constant force, and you're busy and you have purpose, right? The minute that all of that stops, which is fairly recent for me, it's super confusing. It's like, what do I do now? How do I do this now? And what happens is, and I say this all the time, that this is not a disease of the breast, this is a disease of the mind, okay? The mind gets very dark. The mind can go to a lot of places that you don't want it to go to, and you start thinking about some really scary things. And this is really kind of where I've been over the last month or so. And so I said to myself, no, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let my mind go there, because I know very well that mind and body are very connected. And if I think negative, negative things are going to happen. I need to think positive. And I again went to my camera for healing. And that's when I contacted Marianne, and I said, Marianne, listen, I need a healing opportunity here, and I love you, and I think we should get together and create some magic. And do something amazing. So that is what we did. And I know it's sometimes hard to look at images like this, right? It's not the norm. She doesn't look normal, right? But again, if she had her shirt closed, nobody would know, right? It's just a small layer of clothing that separates you from the world. And that's why I say when you take off your clothes and you shed your clothes, you shed your inhibitions. So I'm going to show you a quick video that I made with Marianne.
I had implants, and the implants got infected. So I had 5 infections, and I kind of was like, I didn't want any more, so I had to have them removed. It was a matter of getting sicker. This is not what I chose, it chose me, and I often say that. But the other women that I have met that are also flat, they chose it, and they're very happy and very comfortable. I'm just the type of person that's just trying to find themselves in this new body. not having these breasts that you've had all your life, you have to find a new body image. And I found it here. This is my beautiful sexy. And it's not breasts, it's just, this is my skin and my scars or my journey. My name is Marianne, and I'm very proud to be a breast cancer survivor. The advice I'd give to people who are going through breast cancer is, yes, you're going to have new breasts. And yes, your body image is going to completely change. But it makes you think about what is sexy, what is beautiful within you. It's so in you. And you'll discover it in small little ways, but you'll discover it. I met Jen online. I found out about her blog, her breast cancer blog, and that's how I found out. And then I discovered that she was a photographer. Didn't know anything much more about her than her blog, and I heard a lot about her blog from different people. And I was interested in her photography, and then she wanted to take pictures of me. And I was really happy because this is a subject that's very personal to me and obviously personal to her as well. And I've been photographed before showing my scars, and this was a different opportunity to show my other side, and that's what I got to do. It was just an experience that I didn't expect, and I hadn't ever had the makeup put on and the hair done and wear something that was not typical of what I would normally wear. This is an attitude that I didn't expect to have, and important. Being photographed has really helped me embrace my new body. It's not only just you see it, it's visual, you're also sharing it, and then the empowerment that happens.
I'm happy I found you.
I know it's my video, but I cry every time I see it. You know, it's interesting because Marianne, I left and I was with my hair and makeup team, and I just kept saying to them, is she like not the most amazing person you ever met? Like, look at this woman who found joy and who found life and who found happiness, even with everything that she's gone through. And what a strong woman to go through all of that. I don't know, I can't imagine what that's like. And they're looking at me with like a question mark on their, you know, really? What do you mean you don't know what it's like? And they said to me, Jen, this is you too. You're going through this too. You're also helping women. You're also inspiring women. And I'm really grateful for that experience with Marianne, because it really brought the passion back into my work, and realizing that I too, even in my struggles, can go out and still help women with their struggles, and we can bond over that, and we can connect in that way. So the organization that I want to talk about today is called Soul Riders. They are a local organization in New York, and they have been extremely supportive to me through my struggles. At any moment, if I have a problem, I can pick up the phone and call them and say, I just need somebody to talk to today, I'm having a bad day. Because if anybody out here has had cancer, you know it can be a very lonely journey at times, because you try to protect people from your emotions and not scare them, but sometimes other survivors are really the people that you need to talk to that really understand, and they're there for that. In addition, their main objective really is to provide wigs for women. I was very lucky through my chemotherapy. I did something called cold capping that allowed me to keep my hair, but it's very expensive, and a lot of women don't have that luxury, or the chemo doesn't afford them that luxury. They take their hair anyway. And I think the only thing worse than being sick is looking sick and having people treat you with pity and sorrow, and it's not really a way to live when you're ill. So they provide wigs for women, and they provide wigs for women locally, and actually also in third world countries where women can't afford that at all, because in a lot of villages, like in Guatemala, whatnot, they're actually shunned if they don't have their hair. They're seen as sort of freakish, I guess. So they provide wigs for women so that they can assimilate into society with no problems and, you know, feel good about yourself. When you're going through treatment, it's not fun. You don't feel so good about yourself. So if you can look in the mirror and recognize yourself as the person that you are used to seeing, it's very helpful to go through treatment. So they do that along with beauty days and any type of support, you know, Reiki and massage and yoga and all sorts of different things that they afford women so that they can get through their treatment. And let's face it, and I can tell you this, I have 2 children and I have a family. We're trying to keep it all together all the time. So feeling good is really a part of that through treatment. So if you have a moment to check out their website or offer them a donation, it's a wonderful cause, and they've been extremely, extremely helpful to me through one day and have somebody, say I'm struggling today, and have somebody say, yeah, it just sucks, right? Instead of, don't worry, it'll get better. So they've been really. This is where you guys can find me if you have anybody have any questions? Want to talk about anything? Any comments? Okay, well, I am hanging out here. I'll be here for a little bit if anybody does. This is where you can find me, and I appreciate you being here today, and I want to thank Nikon for having me. Thank you, guys.
All right, beautiful program. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, 12:30, come up and grab a seat, grab some of the carpet. At 12:30, we will have U.S. astronaut Captain Scott Kelly here for an amazing program on how he spent a year in space on the International Space Station. Come in, grab any section of the booth, and we'll keep this programming and amazing education going. So hold tight, 12:30, next program. And somebody's car alarm just went off.